Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Doesn't it feel like the week just flew by? We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you, East and West Coast. And Mike,
hmm
why? Why does it feel like just 3 days ago it was Monday?
Whoosh, we're back to Friday and so soon. It's kind of a nice feeling, right? Don't you wish all weeks could be like that?
Yes,
Well,
yes,
we
indeed.
start off, we do. We start off with some sunshine ahead in the forecast for this weekend, but first, a chance of some showers, and that comes in later on tomorrow afternoon, just for northern New Jersey. Finishing out the overnight hours with some clear sky. Looking back, is just some clouds throughout the overnight, maybe a quick passing sprinkle, but the real story is the clearing today that starts our day nice and sunny and stays that way mostly throughout the early afternoon. Then we get some early day passing showers. You see by 1, 2 o'clock, they'll be very widespread, very light, clearing out this evening. That's actually helped fueled by the sun. And then tomorrow morning, another clear and beautiful start, a little bit cooler, but northern New Jersey could see some of these quick passing showers that come through ahead of the cold front. Once they pass on by, they provide a little bit of clearing for tomorrow night. Another round of passing clouds on Saturday, but Sunday is the sunnier half of the weekend. And even going into the weekend, a little bit of a cool down ahead as this cooler trend takes over across the Northeast. Lots of warmth down south and out in the Midwest, but you see this little nudge of cooler air trying to work its way through the Northeast. It's also helping to keep that very wet pattern out west with the cool weather, especially out towards San Francisco. We'll tell you more about the rest of the week's weather into the weekends coming up, Ken, in just a bit.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. 2 minutes after, it is 65 degrees in northern New Jersey, 65 also in Trenton. On the West Coast, it is 64 degrees in Los Angeles and 65 degrees in San Diego. Beautiful weather on the West Coast, although it's still pretty dark there right now. Checking some traffic in the area. All we really have, oh, of course, we just got a reset here. Let's do this. Incidents. Okay. So all we really have is a crash reported 287 northbound south of exit 39, which is Route 10 in Hanover. Two left lanes of the 5 lanes are closed. We don't have a camera. The camera's not functioning there, unfortunately, right now. Other issues to tell you about, there is a bit of a slowdown at exit 149 on the Garden State Parkway northbound. That's just due to volume. And then we look at the Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln and Holland right now, both reporting 25 minutes in. GWB, there's the Holland approach. That's from 139 coming off of Route 78. The GWB upper and lower levels already starting to show a little bit of buildup. This is the 8095 approach. Upper level will be on the right side of your screen and the lower level on your left. And you can see the slowness from the amount of volume there. Don't go on the shoulder. I knew one person who did that once, and there's two people. I knew one person, you get, I think it's 2 points if you get stopped. That's a serious traffic ticket. So you don't want to do that under any circumstances. Don't think you're getting around the guys and you're going to make up some time, because for the 30 seconds you're going to make up, you're going to get slapped with something that'll cost you like $10,000 in the end in terms of increased insurance over the next few years. Is another one coming? Pam could see, Eagle Eye Pam. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, let's not give them the time on TV. Anyway, all right. So checking the West Coast, we have a collision reported Antelope Valley on Route 14 at Ward Road North, and then there's a collision reported West LA at on Admiralty Way. Road closures, two of them, both in East LA. One is Route 60 at North Garfield Avenue. The other is the 10 at Del Mar Avenue. Well, the U.S. carried out a new series of strikes in southern Iran, described as defensive, after Iran fired 4 drones at a U.S. commercial ship. The U.S. shot down all of the drones, then blew up the base where a fifth drone was being launched. The announcement came hours after President Trump announced that we were close to an agreement between the U.S. and Iran, and that the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened. The plan would end hostilities with Iran while gradually reopening the strait and ending the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. It would unfreeze some Iranian assets that are held in banks outside Iran, and it would start a 30-day clock for continued negotiations to resolve sticking points on Iran's nuclear program, including what happens to Tehran's stockpile of near weapons-grade uranium. Meanwhile, President President Trump dismissed a report that Iran and Oman would manage shipping through the Strait of Hormuz as part of a deal to end the war. At least one person was killed, 9 others remained unaccounted for after a chemical tank imploded at the Nippon Dynawave packaging plant in Longview, Washington. The ruptured tank contained what is called white liquor. That is not something you drink. It's a hazardous chemical mixture used in paper production. Several people, including a firefighter, got hurt with burns and inhalation injuries, while rescue efforts were delayed because the damaged tank remained unstable and dangerous. Officials said there was no immediate threat to the surrounding community, though the incident renewed scrutiny of the plant's past safety violations and ongoing workplace safety concerns. A Southern California man known for decorating his home with patriotic and pro-Trump displays died after he was assaulted outside his home in Escondido. Kerry Sharon, the man, 69 years old, pardon me, suffered severe injuries during the attack and died days later in the hospital. Authorities arrested 32-year-old Thomas Caleb Butler on charges including attempted murder, elder abuse, and battery, though investigators have not confirmed a motive. Sharon's family said the couple had previously faced harassment over their political displays, but had never experienced physical violence before the attack. 6 minutes past the hour, former President Joe Biden has sued the Justice Department to block the release of audio recordings and transcripts tied to special counsel Robert Hur's classified documents investigation. The materials stem from interviews Biden gave to the writer of his memoir. They were later obtained during the probe into his handling of classified documents after serving as vice president. Biden argues the recordings are private conversations obtained through a criminal investigation and should not be released to the conservative Heritage Foundation or congressional Republicans. The lawsuit comes after the DOJ reportedly reversed its earlier stance opposing disclosure of the records. Meanwhile, in a CBS Sunday Morning interview, former First Lady Jill Biden says she feared her husband was having a stroke as she watched then President Joe Biden stumble through the disastrous debate performance that led to the end of his 2024 reelection campaign. The question is, where was Dr. Jill in the days before and after the debate when she insisted President Biden was as healthy as an ox? The former First Lady is promoting a book due out next week called View from the East Wing, a memoir. The American Cancer Society has updated its colorectal cancer screening guidelines to include new blood-based tests and additional at-home stool tests alongside colonoscopies. While colonoscopies remain the preferred gold standard, experts hope that offering more testing options will encourage millions of unscreened Americans to get checked earlier for the disease. The new recommendations come as colorectal cancer rates continue to rise among younger adults, so many people eating processed foods, with experts emphasizing that early detection greatly improves outcomes. Doctors stress that the blood test should mainly serve people unwilling or unable to complete more effective screening methods. Just get a colonoscopy. You don't feel a thing. I've had many. It is 8 minutes past the hour. UFC President Dana White says it is a major honor to build a temporary fight arena on the White House lawn for a planned mixed martial arts event celebrating America's 250th anniversary. The June 14th event will feature UFC-style fights inside an octagon surrounded by thousands of spectators. White acknowledged the logistical challenges of hosting outdoor fights, including weather, but described the opportunity as historic. It is 9 minutes past, and NASA has unveiled new plans for building a permanent moon base, outlining robotic landers, drones, power systems, and future astronaut housing designed for the lunar South Pole. Companies including Blue Origin, Intuitive Machines, and Astrobotic have been selected to develop key technologies for the project. NASA hopes to establish a semi-permanent base by 2032, powered by solar and nuclear energy, with the long-term goal of supporting scientific research and future missions to Mars. However, experts say the timeline may be difficult to achieve, especially as China continues accelerating its own lunar ambitions and could potentially land astronauts on the moon first. Well, before we go back, that is. 9 minutes past the hour, New Jersey's first ever street medicine program is officially launched through RWJ Barnabas Health at Trinitas Regional Medical Center in Elizabeth. The initiative sends medical teams directly into the community to provide care for unhoused residents, homeless people, including urgent medical treatment, mental health support, substance use services, and chronic disease management. Officials say the program aims at reducing hospitalizations and mortality rates while connecting patients with long-term health care resources, transportation, and housing support. Leaders from RWJ Barnabas Health and the city of Elizabeth, call the program a major step toward improving healthcare access for people who are more vulnerable all over the state of New Jersey. Over to Waco, Texas, and police there safely captured a kangaroo. That's right. There he is right there. His name is Bingus. The kangaroo escaped and was spotted hopping loose around the city. You think it escaped? You mean that they're not native to Waco, Texas? Officers chased the animal for a while before finally returning it unharmed to a local wildlife rescue. For the record, you could actually die from a kangaroo because they have claws at the ends of their feet and they kick very hard. They can break your chest, your ribs by kicking you. So they look innocuous, but they can be quite dangerous. Anyway, the officers ran around the city to find it. As you can see, they pursued the animal for a while. They returned it unharmed. The unusual incident quickly grew attention online from local residents. But once again, you're not trained when you're trained as a police officer for chasing a kangaroo, especially around West Texas. Kind of funny. 11 minutes past the hour. When we return, we're taking the Jersey City Jazz Festival, or talking about it rather. We have all the details. It's coming up this weekend. If you even like jazz a little bit, this is your weekend. You're going to want to go and check this out. It's right on the waterfront in Jersey City. Plus, meteorologist Mike Favetta's forecast, and it's pretty nice. Maybe some afternoon showers, otherwise sunny and warm, but not hot. It's going to be kind of nice for the next few days. And we'll take your calls, 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. And by the way, the sunshine without too much heat goes for both the East Coast and the West Coast. It is 12 minutes past the hour. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato, live both in the New York, New Jersey area on New Jersey, ONNJ.com, on the West Coast on LACA.com, and now joined by our new channel in Florida on FLA.com. Tell your friends about us. Hope you enjoy us. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday live in New Jersey and New York. Now welcoming Los Angeles at 15 minutes past the hour. We will take your calls. The number's 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. We are now joined by our good friend, meteorologist Mike Favetta. He has the forecast near you. 54 on the West Coast right now before the sun comes up, Mike. Nice and fresh and crisp. 55
Yeah.
in San Diego, though. And we have 64 here, northern New Jersey, 65 in Trenton. So pretty fresh, nice morning. And it's not going to be ridiculously hot in the Northeast right now, right?
No, in fact, it cools down over the next few days, only reaching the mid 70s this weekend, which is a nice, pleasant change from that hot weather we had just a short time ago. Obviously, the sunshine this weekend will feel much better than all the rain that we had over the holiday weekend. And overnight had a few quick passing sprinkles, but it's the wet weather out west and the chill that lingers. You heard Ken read the temperatures in the 50s only, with that cool Pacific air coming in right off of the water, allowing for temperatures to remain 20 to 25 below zero. That's for today and even into tomorrow. Back to the East Coast, we have a beautiful sunny day today, slightly cooler than yesterday. And then tomorrow, some afternoon clouds come in with a quick passing shower off in northern New Jersey. That clears by Saturday for a very pleasant weekend. Lots of sunshine ahead, dry all this weekend, looking very nice. Then we head into Monday and Tuesday, and our next chance for a little bit of rain probably arrives midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. And even that, most of it stays just off to the east of us as New Jersey stays relatively dry. So there's a little bit of a cooling trend down across the south, but it's the weather across the northern half of the U.S. that stays very warm with this ridge building, allowing for the heat to stick around there. And then that cool down arrives across the East Coast into the end of the day tomorrow. The futurecast shows why. It's that cool air with the cold front that moves on through. We get another cold front for Friday. That'll allow for a little bit of a chill to settle in for Saturday morning. And then the afternoons warm up each day, promoting a little bit of a next week. And there's that next round of rain staying just far enough east that we might get clipped with a little bit of a sprinkle. But overall, doing great today. Lots of sunshine for the first half of the day, just clouds later on this afternoon. We'll take a look at the longer range trends, Ken, coming up in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mike. It's 17 minutes past the hour. It is now 61 degrees northern New Jersey, 65 in Trenton. Off to the West Coast, 54 in Los Angeles and 55 degrees San Diego. Checking traffic. We have a couple of things to tell you about. Let's go to 295. There's a crash with injuries on 295 southbound. This is exit 13 by Route 130 in Logan Township. The left lane is closed. You can see what it's causing here, delays there. It's kind of, you can make it out under the sign there by the trees, the stopped traffic, but that's been going on for about 15 minutes. Well, I'm sure that's going to get worse as time goes on, but we'll keep an eye on that for you. There's a crash on 287. We unfortunately can't get a camera shot on. The camera is out exactly where the crash is. Could be because of the crash. We're not sure. But that is on 287 northbound south of exit 39, Route 10 in Hanover Township. Two left lanes closed. Also have some delays now on the approach to the Holland Tunnel. If you look at the Hudson River crossing there from Route 78 rather, along 139 into the Holland Tunnel. Check out this shot. We do have the camera shot. It's just kind of schmutzy. The lens looks dirty. Do we have it? 139? There it is. That's why Pam's like, do you really want to show that shot? You can kind of see how slow the cars are moving. Yeah, that's from the bottom up is going into the tunnel. And it's just a crawl right now. It's going to cost you about 35 minutes in. In fact, we're going to be talking to somebody from Jersey City in a second. I'm sure they can confirm what it looks like all the time there. Yeah, he's smiling. The Lincoln Tunnel approach much better on 495. And the GWB upper and lower very heavy for this hour at 7:18 East Coast time. Look at that. Upper levels on the right, lower levels not moving on the left. So you're better off taking the upper level if you're doing the GWB. Couple of incidents to tell you about in Los Angeles. There's a collision, no injuries in Newhall on the 14 at Ward Road. There's another collision. This is on Admiralty Way in West LA, and two road closures, both in East LA. One is on the 60 at North Garfield. The other's on the 10 at Del Mar Avenue. 19 minutes past the hour. This Friday through Sunday, one of the biggest music weekends of the year is returning to the beautiful, beautiful Hudson River waterfront as the Jersey City Jazz Festival brings together live music, food, culture, and community for a massive 3 day celebration. The festival this year is expected to bring 30,000 people. I bet you even more. And for the first time ever, it's combining with the Jersey City Latin Jazz Festival to showcase an even wider range of sounds and performances. Joining us now is Brian Benninghove, who is the director and founder of Riverview Jazz, a fantastic saxophonist himself. Go online and check out the videos. I've been checking out. You are awesome, dude. Good morning to you, Brian. Great to have you on.
Great to be here, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's funny. When I was a baby DJ back at like 17 years of age, which is like 100 years ago, I was at a jazz station. I didn't know what jazz was when I started, and I left after 4 years in love with the art. Jazz is just it's America. It is original to this country, and I think more people need to be exposed to it to realize what a treasure it is. What makes the Jersey City Jazz Festival so special?
Well, I mean, first off, it's the access to the amazing musicians we have right here. Because, I mean, right next to New York City, not to mention Jersey, everybody lives here. So we have incredible music. And then we have, I mean, we have the whole skyline of New York right there next to us, and we're on the water. So it's just a wonderful festival. And the other great thing is we can sports so many different styles of music because there's just so many different people here playing so much different great music. So it's a really diverse festival, and it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw you smiling when I was showing the mess of traffic at the Holland Tunnel. I'm sure you've been there 10 trillion times in your life. My friend Ryan has, of course, Batello Restaurant right there by the waterfront. I'm sure
Oh
you've eaten
yeah,
there many times,
yeah.
and I know he always talks about the Jazz Festival and how incredible it is. So this
Oh,
has
great.
grown now into one of the premier music festivals in the region. I know Newark has a great jazz scene, and it's only 10 minutes away, but now you have this. So, what's it been like watching this jazz scene evolve over the years?
Well, it's kind of this festival's really kind of evolved with the city itself too, because when I first, I guess I moved here about I don't know 25, a little bit more years ago, so I was probably about three. No, I'm just kidding. But when I moved here, there wasn't a whole lot of spaces to play, and we would just kind of have to create it. So it's always been a very DIY scene, and then the festival's been super DIY. I mean, it just started up with like a little park concert with a farmers market, and then it just kind of kept growing, and then the city just really. Just, I mean, you see how tall it got, and how much more traffic it got. So as we were talking, I'm sure you just rolled a tape from yesterday and the day before there talking about the Holland Tunnel, but but so many people came here, and there's so many more opportunities to grow. So the festival has just moved right along with it, and it's been really fun to be a part of it.
And I love the fact that you are combining the Jersey City Jazz Festival with the Latin Jazz Festival for the first time. So, when did you come up with that idea? And that's going to bring a massive amount of people, but all people coming for fun. That's going to be great.
Well, we've always done a whole lot of Latin programming. We do dance classes, salsa bands, a lot of Latin jazz, and then what really brought about it was speaking of the weather. Last year we got rained out at the Latin festival, and I mean it nearly crushed us. But we came back this year, and we were going through. We're like, well, how can we mitigate this? And we're like, well, why don't we just expand the festival, go multiple days, and then we'll do the Latin festival for one of the days. Then as we started going through the programming, we're like, well, why should we make it all one and the other? I mean, if I was walking around at the festival, I'd want to hear all this different music go boom, 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 boom through everything. And we've really kind of come up with a really wonderful program this year, putting the two together. And we can use a lot of our resources now to make a much better festival for the audience.
You're going to have lots of bossa nova there, I hope, because that's of all the genres of jazz, I melt with bossa nova. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's just amazing. That is fantastic music, and I love. And the thing is, I don't know somebody who loves bossa nova will also love all the other genres of jazz. But it's great to expose people who are like into one specific niche of jazz into the other niches. So to have it all together
No,
is fabulous. That's great. And beyond the music, you also have food. You got vendors, family activities,
yeah,
dance classes. And this is a just a blowout community event. Why was that
yeah.
important to build into the festival?
Well, one of our things that we really want to do is, speaking of the music, when you're talking about, people think if I say, if I go up to anybody on the train and say, "Hey, do you like jazz?" They immediately have like a conception of what it is. So one guy will think, "Oh, it's Kenny G," which whatever, and then the next guy will be like, "Oh, it's Louis Armstrong," and the next person says, "It's John Coltrane," or it's Crazy Free stuff, and it's all that, it can be anything,
Right.
so we try to say, hey, come on out, we're going to get you a whole bunch of different sounds, but you're going to have a cold beer, your kids can run around, make some crafts, they can have some little drum lessons, you can have a great bite to eat, and then you're going to hear all this wonderful music at the same time too, because I look at it like it's a I forget what the name. It's not. Well, I'm trying to think of like the old smorgasbord restaurants. Where you got your Italian section, you got
The
this
all
section,
you
you
can
got
eat
that.
buffet.
Exactly. So it's like you show up with a fork and a plate, and you can have whatever you want, and there's something for everybody. So that's kind of
Make
our goal
put
there
a
to do this.
make sure you put a cough screen up though. Just do us all a favor, okay? That's all we
Yeah,
ask. So
yeah,
the
no, yeah.
musicians are protected. Now you're expecting tens of thousands of people there. And the good news is the waterfront in the last 30 years has become developed into something elegant. I don't know if you remember. I remember it 30 years ago. You wouldn't be caught dead at the waterfront. In fact, if you were at the waterfront, you probably were dead. That's where somebody put bodies. Today, the waterfront is just
Yeah,
stunning. It's
yeah.
gorgeous. So, I mean, how are they? Hopefully, they're planning on dealing with the traffic because that's the only issue. That I love Jersey City, but it's just traffic is its middle name.
Well, the good thing about where we're at is I got the light rail, I have the path train, I have all the buses end right there, and we have tons of parking garages if you want to brave the traffic. Um, the thing is Sunday's not bad. You get over there and there's parking around, but traffic's just a necessary evil. Every time I go to a gig in New York, I look it up and I put it in. It says 8 miles, hour and 10 minutes. So you're not gonna beat the traffic, but man, we have tons of public transportation. You can take the ferry here. It's wonderful, to get here.
Yeah, that's the best. There is nothing better than getting on a ferry. You just look at
Yeah.
everybody stuck in traffic. You just go 4 minutes across and you're there. It's worth every penny. As a musician yourself, what does it feel like when you see the crowds connecting through live music? When you are pouring out your soul, in your case, through a sax, and really, I mean, your heart is coming out in that sax, and you just look up and you see crowds of people just looking mesmerized. What does that feel like?
Well, playing's a little bit different because you're just focused. Your mind goes blank if it's going well, and it should just be I don't really get into that part, but when I'm producing the festival and I'm on the other side looking out, that's when I can feel it more so. Feel the audience because when you're in it, playing, it's like playing sports. If I'm worried about what people are thinking about, I'm missing the ball.
Yeah.
So, but when I'm actually sitting back and watching the event happen, it's really something. I just have to always remind myself to stop and take a look at what's going on and try to appreciate it because it is wonderful when you love music so much to look out there and see so many people enjoying it, and yeah, it's special.
Well, Jersey City's been becoming known now for doing these neighborhoody type things that are now tens of thousands of people, but started out as little neighborhood things, more so than any other city in the region. You guys in Jersey City just do it well. That's the skyline of Jersey City. If you recognize it, that's what I have behind me. We're very proud of Jersey City. Quickly give us a website, please, for more info so people can get tickets. Or, well, they no tickets, they just walk up, but to get more info.
Well, we have some ticketed options which do help the cause. So if you want to,
Mhm.
please do that. But www.jerseycityjazzfestival.com. So
And
come
you
on
have
out, and we
events
do
all
events.
week, right? There are things happening all week.
I feel like I just left one. So, so Yes, so we had like 5 events last night. We have another 5 events tonight, and yeah, so it's go 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 time.
Well, this is fantastic. Thank you for doing what you're doing, my friend. You just really make
Oh,
this a special place to
thank you.
live. And Jersey City Jazz Festival, the main festival itself is this Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the beautiful Hudson River waterfront at Exchange Place Plaza, Jersey City. Director and founder of Riverview Jazz, musician himself, Brian Benninghoff. Have a blast this weekend. Try to
Oh,
enjoy a moment of it with all the busyness. And thanks for coming on.
come on out, Ken. It'll be great to see you.
I will. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. It's going to be a
Good.
joy. Thank you again, Brian. You
All right,
bet.
thanks.
Oh, fantastic. It is 29 minutes past. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Very good morning. 32 minutes past the hour, Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West. Meteorologist Mike Favetta, smack dab in the middle. He does everything evenly when it comes to weather. And there he is. Good morning, Mr. Mike.
That's right. We've got some beautiful weather on the way for today, right? A little bit of sun, a little bit of clouds, a little bit of clear sky. So the weather needle is right in the middle too, given how foul it was over the weekend with all of that cold, rainy weather. Now this weekend, what a dramatic change, right? We're back into the 70s with all that sunshine, early morning clouds giving way to some late morning sun. And then we're right back to a little bit of cloud cover this afternoon, but still staying dry today. Out west, very wet. This system is kind of plaguing the Pacific Northwest with all of this rain and even some of those showers lingering down towards Southern California as they kind of do a double back around off the Pacific coast. Our pollen is back up to the high level today for the trees, weeds, and grasses, or at least borderline high and staying moderate, thanks to all of the dry weather. But with that, we see the continued rainfall out west with this system that kind of lingers, doesn't really move until at least Saturday, giving most of the West Coast that cloudy, foggy feel. With cooler weather, it's running about 10 or 12 degrees below average and even cooler than New Jersey going into this afternoon. So some of those showers now popping up there on the map down through Southern California into LA. Out east, we started off a little cloudy overnight, but now sunshine around. We have a beautiful day ahead, lower humidity than yesterday. It feels great. Feels like summer is around the corner, but when will that summer feel return? We'll take a look at the full forecast, let you know how the 2 week trend looks coming up in just a few minutes.
And in the business, my friends, that is called a tease. Nicely
Mm,
done, Mr. Mike. All
my
right, sir.
pleasure.
Much appreciated. 66 degrees northern New Jersey, 65 degrees in Trenton and California right now, 54 Los Angeles, 54 also in San Diego. A couple of issues to talk about. Right to the Garden State Parkway. We have a crash northbound south of exit 145. This is the tower cam. You can see the traffic going from the lower left to the upper right. That is the southbound traffic, and that is, I'm sorry, that is the northbound traffic south of exit 145 by I-280 East Orange. All lanes open, but you can see the bit of a slowdown caused by that. Over to Route 130, there's a crash investigation southbound at 295 in Logan Township. All lanes currently closed, and your Hudson River crossings. Lincoln Tunnel is moving pretty well, actually, right now, 20 minutes in. Holland, as usual, we've been having a lot of issues of late in the Holland Tunnel. The approaches, the camera's really just hard to see. It's getting worse and worse. It almost looks like somebody's taking a can of hairspray to the lens every day. But if you can make out where it says SE over 0234, the bottom right there, that's where you could see the vehicles stopped. Those are the ones heading into the tube, or at least making an attempt to do so. It's going to cost you 35 minutes into Manhattan that way. GWB, upper and lower level, unusually heavy for this time of the day. We'll take a look at the 8095 approach. The upper level is on the right, lower on the left. Either way, it's going to cost you about 40 minutes in. And then to the West Coast, we have a couple of issues here. Ken thought he was done, but no, he forgot. We have a collision, no injuries reported, Antelope Valley on Route 14 by Ward Road North. There is a collision also on Admiralty Way in West LA, and then two road closures, both in East LA. One is on the 60 at North Garfield, the other is on the 10 at Delmar Avenue. 35 minutes past the hour. New Jersey's business community is talking a lot right now about growth, innovation, energy, and the future of AI. And some of those conversations are happening at major conferences and events happening all across the state. From manufacturing regulations, slowing expansion plans, to the growing role of artificial intelligence in the workplace, there is a lot shaping the economic future of New Jersey. And joining us this morning is our good friend Tom Bergeron, owner and editor at Binge, to talk more about it. Good morning to our friend Tom. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Ken. Live from a hotel room in Jersey City. We're doing this remote. This is modern TV at its finest.
Crazy. So you're not far from the where the jazz festival's going on this weekend, down at the waterfront, I'm sure. That's kind of cool. Got to
I
check
might
that
have
out.
to take that in. It's wonderful.
The best. Well, we could do a whole segment on that. But you recently wrote about a manufacturing company whose expansion plans are stopped over parking regulations. How common are stories like that in New Jersey?
Oh, we love a great juicy headline. So I was down at the State of the State Manufacturing in Trenton last week, and manufacturers had a chance to meet with some state officials, including the Chief Operating Officer Kelly Doucette, and a number of members of the legislature, and to just hear some of the things that they went through. One company said they wanted to double their expansion, and they couldn't because they didn't meet a local parking regulation. So it was an opportunity for the state to hear, and they want to hear it, all of the rules and regulations that are slowing business growth. They listened. They've been doing a 21 county tour, and now it's time for them to act, which they say they want to. It's not a simple process. It should be, but it's not. But that's what they're doing. So here now I'm at the New Jersey Utilities Association conference. It's the same thing. Dale Caldwell came, said he wants to hear the questions and concerns, and we could do an hour on energy. But as you know, the biggest issue is it's a supply and demand issue. It's not just transmission. There needs to be a stronger push for more infrastructure in the state. And that's been a topic of conversation all day yesterday, and I'm sure it'll continue today.
I'm sure glad that Dale Caldwell is accessible, because the governor sure as hell is not. And Lieutenant Governor Caldwell, has been out there unlike any lieutenant governor. Well, we haven't had that many, just a few, but it's nice to see he's out and about doing the work that, with all due respect to the governor, she should be doing. But you see that states like Texas are bringing in corporations like ExxonMobil, and the New Jersey is just losing them because the regulatory environment here is choking to businesses. When you could go to Texas, not pay an income tax, have all of this stuff, you could build a company in wide open land and not have all this overhead and have plenty of educated employees, as opposed to what we have in New Jersey. It's no wonder the people are fleeing the state.
Fleeing's a little bit harsh. Look, there's pros and cons to everything. New Jersey has a lot going on for it, which is why companies are interested, especially international companies. But you're correct. The rules and the regulations and the corporate tax is slowing the growth, or maybe eliminating it. As companies come in, there's a lot of different things that they look at. For some people, taxes is not an issue. They like our location. They like our skilled workforce. For other people, taxes and quality of life is a big issue. So, it's funny you talk about the Jersey Jazz Fest that you have. That's a check in our category for quality of life. It's the balances that we need to find, and that's what the new administration is trying to do. Look, they're 100 days in, 120 days in. Everybody talks a big game in the beginning, but they are listening. And I will tell you, the utility folks yesterday and the manufacturing folks last week said the willingness to listen and hear them out has been outstanding. It's just a matter of where we go from here.
Let's hope. Let's hope, because we have our regulations are a foot thick, unlike just about any other state in the union. It's unreal. I know so many people who've tried opening businesses in this state, and so many of them have gone out. I know that's anecdotal, but it's just sad to see, because this is a great state and it is loaded with great people, the most densely populated state in the union, and this is why it poses such a great opportunity, or presents such a great opportunity to a business, because you got so many people located in such a dense local area. Now, you were at the New Jersey Utilities Conference. You just talked about that briefly here. What are the biggest concerns they have surrounding energy? Is it just down to the AI issue and power plants for that?
No, the AI issue isn't what you would think in the energy sector. There's concerns about cybersecurity and that type of thing, but the biggest issue for energy is a commitment to long-term infrastructure growth. And the challenges with each administration, both in New Jersey, both in Washington, the rules change. What we care about, what we're emphasizing. Governor Murphy was all about offshore wind and electrification. Now we have an all-in approach that maybe natural gas is coming back. So the challenge is, we need to invest in infrastructure, but it's hard to get outside investors to put money in when they know that every couple of years things could completely change.
Well, I just read an article about how solar is now finally advancing to a point where the return on investment now really makes sense. There was a point where no matter what, if you invested in solar, you always lost money. It made sense to use natural gas. Now there are states, including Texas, that the power plants, the natural gas power plants, are combined, natural gas, solar. So solar is finally getting to the point where the technology has advanced. Is that something we're looking into more that you know of in the folks that you've talked to?
Look, Sean Keegan, who runs Solar Landscape down in Asbury Park, and they're for community solar. They're a national leader now. I mean, that company, there's a Jersey success story, started running out of the back of his car, quote unquote, and now they have hundreds of employees doing all kinds of great things. And what community solar is just putting solar on top of rooftops, on top of urban areas, and it allows local people to tap into and share on that. It is a huge success. It is hugely helpful. It's not going to solve our energy problems. It's not those type of numbers that are going to do it. It's good to have. It's good to help. It's clean. Nuclear is something that more and more people are turning to because it is a clean solution, but it takes a long time to go. So there are the balances, right? The Governor Sherrill just recently approved that we can look into adding another nuclear plant down in Salem, but that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in one administration. It might not happen in two. So it's that desire to have a commitment to whatever infrastructure. You remember we had a big wind port that started, now it stopped. They talked about the Penn East pipeline, which started, now it stopped. So it's really a necessary commitment to the energy growth that is what we need to see.
And our last few moments, we want to talk about a coworker of yours, a friend, Donald Newhouse, former employee who just passed. Talk about Donald.
So the Newhouse family is just media legends and New Jersey legends. I had the privilege of working at the Star Ledger at the beginning of my career for more than a decade. And I wrote a piece this morning on Benj. I never met Donald Newhouse. I never interacted with him. He did not come in the newsroom, but everyone in the newsroom felt his presence. He not only took a newspaper that when he took over in the 60s was behind the Newark News and made it not just a state power, but a national power. but the way he treated myself and all the other colleagues in the Star Ledger newsroom, it was a family. The benefits were unbelievable, but you just sense that you were part of a family. I used to tell people I work for one of the 5, 10, 20 richest people in the world, and I feel like I'm working for just a free circ drop on my on my driveway from just some small mom and pop. He treated everybody with such respect and dignity. May he rest in peace. Donald Newhouse had such an incredible impact on me personally, the people who work there, and the media industry in this state.
Rare to find human beings like that. Thank you for that tribute as well. The website is binge.com, B-I-N-J-E, binge.com. The owner editor, New Jersey's own Tom Bergeron right there. Tom, thank you for coming on again this morning. We'll catch you next week.
Always a pleasure.
Likewise. It is 44 minutes past the hour. When we come back, many on the left try to say that President Trump has lost his support. Clearly not among Republicans. Many on the right are saying, whoa, look at all the primaries that we just had. But does that translate to the general election? Well, News Nation's Elizabeth Pran will join us to talk all about it. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato live on the East Coast and the West. We're back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. 46 minutes past the hour. Meteorologist Mike Favetta in with the forecast for your city. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a beautiful forecast for this weekend. No matter your location, especially with the clear sky that's around for most of the weekend across the Northeast, get a couple showers tomorrow afternoon in northern New Jersey. But beyond that, staying nice and dry right through the weekend, Sunday evening looking very pleasant. And even going into Monday, that dry weather continues. Maybe see a shower or sprinkle return by the early part of next week, but it's down across the southeast U.S. that some of that rain continues. Much needed rain, by the way. It's been a long-standing drought there, even as we head into the next few days. So with our future cast here zoomed into the East Coast and the Northeast, showing a lot of those little pop-up showers today won't last very long. It's just a little bit of a partly cloudy sky. We're back to sunshine tomorrow. Then another front passes tomorrow afternoon, gives us a chance of rain in northern New Jersey. Look at the dry weather all throughout the day on Saturday. And then Sunday, our next weather system tries to move in across the Northeast, but really stays far enough into New England that we're likely not impacted. Looking ahead into the first week of June, look at all that warm weather stretching across the northern half of the country, kind of centered there in the upper Midwest. Our forecast remains dry, or a little bit drier than usual, going into the next few weeks. And then that drought continues across New Jersey, but it's the big drought there in the Panhandle in northern Florida, that remains. Hopefully they get some relief with these beneficial rains over the next few days, Ken.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. We just got a new disabled vehicle in, so we're all excited because we have a camera shot. Thank you. Doesn't take much, Mike. You know, years
That's
ago it was like, give me like an ice cream sundae. Now it's like we got a camera shot. Whoa.
it.
Thank you very much, sir. We will
Okay.
check back. Much appreciated. 66 northern New Jersey, 65 in Trenton, West Coast, 54, Los Angeles, 54, also in San Diego. And we check this out. Let's go to the do we have the disabled? Yes, we do. The disabled truck. This is a disabled truck on the New Jersey Turnpike by I-80. So this is very close to the GWB. Look at what it's causing. That's just a mess. Bumper to bumper traffic making your way toward the GWB. So this is on the Turnpike northbound, south of the 80 express local lanes. This is Ridgefield Park. All lanes are open, but again, just a very slow go as you make your way toward the bridge, as if the bridge isn't a slow go to begin with. Over to the Garden State Parkway, there's a crash on the GSP northbound. I think we have tower cam for that, Pam. So that's the 145 tower, if you get a second. So this is a crash on the Garden. There you go. Thank you. Garden State Parkway, northbound, south of exit 145, I-280 in East Orange. All lanes open, so you could see the cause of that, the slowdown that you see. Again, all lanes are open, which is why everything is moving, but very slowly, albeit. We have a crash investigation, 130 southbound at 295 Logan Township. All lanes are closed. Your Hudson River crossings right now, 139 approach from 78 into the Holland Tunnel is bumper to bumper. You can see, can you make that out? My gosh, this is like a test on my retinal abilities each day. It's getting worse and worse. I'm going to climb the pole where the camera is today myself with a big bottle of Vindex, and I'm going to spray that thing clean. But that's going to cost you 30 minutes into Manhattan. The Lincoln Tunnel approach, much better, only about 20 to 25. GWB, upper and lower levels, check this out. Very heavy. So once you hit the area right before that, about 2 miles before where there's a disabled truck slowing things down, then you have the pleasure and joy of hitting that, which is going to cost you a solid 45 minutes in. The upper level is on the right, lower level is on the left. And believe it or not, the upper will still save you about 3 minutes if that makes anything to you, if that makes any difference to you. It is 50 minutes past the hour, and many folks on the left are trying to say that President Trump has lost his mojo. Clearly not Republicans. They're not saying that. Used to be that there were just MAGA Republicans and then everybody else. But recent surveys show Trump has close to 90% support from all GOP voters. So this is basically Trump's party now. And with President Trump having a clean sweep of every Republican primary candidate he endorsed for Senate, Congress, or governor, it is a tough call to say that he's lost his persuasion. What will happen, though, during the general elections in November? Can he persuade independents or any Democrats? Here to talk about it this morning is News Nation's Elizabeth Pran, journalist, mom, and wife, and host of the Raising America podcast. Elizabeth is seen every week at this time here on Mornings. Good morning to you, Elizabeth.
You know, Ken, I could talk about this all day because I think it is so fascinating. This particular midterm cycle to me is a labyrinth because you have low voter turnout. So who does that favor? Well, typically Democrats. And then you have special elections. Typically that favors Democrats. But then you have Republicans in the White House. Again, that favors Democrats. But at the same time, if you look at the landscape that we've seen so far, Trump endorsed candidates are simply outperforming even some establishment candidates. But then you also have the primary versus the runoff. So I think it was so poignant when you said, will this trend continue? What is the trend that we see so far? You mentioned it. It is actually fairly undeniable. So he doesn't necessarily weigh in on all of the races. So far, the 118 that he has endorsed have either advanced into a runoff or they have won the primary. Again, primary versus general, because there's other races that he has endorsed, and we didn't necessarily see that years ago. So this is something that's new. Are we going to see a 2018? Are we going to see a 2022? What is going to happen in the House and what is going to happen in the Senate? There's two that I want to bring to your attention. Of course, there's many that I could, but what happened in Texas and what happened in Louisiana? Those were establishment candidates. I'm talking about John Cornyn and I'm talking about Bill Cassidy. They were ousted by Trump-endorsed candidates. And we've seen in those instances where those GOP establishment members try to make amends. So if you look at Cassidy in particular, he is someone who was very outspoken about, let's say, January 6th, and then he tried to make amends with the president, and the president still endorsed more of a conservative candidate. Again, my biggest takeaway here, Ken, and I'm curious to hear what you're going to say, is how does this translate to the general election? Again, low voter turnout, there's a Republican in the White House. How does that fare for the House and the Senate? Again, there's not a huge hill for the Democrats to climb with the House. What is it, 5 seats? And then you have the Senate, where some reports indicate that the GOP can keep it. So this is what I say: get a bag of popcorn. You and I can just watch it all play out as we just start to see it heat up rather.
I think the only thing that saves them right now in the midterms, because I think that my gut tells me they would have lost, they being the Republicans, would have lost the House by about 7 or 8 votes in total, so a net loss of 12. But because of the redistricting, I mean, it might come down to a few votes. And I think they could hold on now because of the redistricting that happened. I think they're going to pull it off by maybe 3 or 4 votes, and still, I think they're not going to have 5, but they'll have 3 or 4. And that's why, I mean, we have here in New Jersey, I don't know if you followed this, Congressman Kane, who is the Thomas Kane Jr. He is the son of our former governor, Tom Kane. Thomas Kane has been AWOL for months. Nobody's saying where he is. They're saying it's a personal medical issue. Okay, be a little more forthcoming. He has been gone. Now, my gut is telling me that Speaker Johnson knows more about this, but they need his head in order to stay in the majority. So they're just, get along rather peacefully, because he is keeping the numbers in the majority for the Republicans. But eventually, somebody's going to have to tell us where the hell this guy is. If the Republicans saw somebody on the Democrat side doing the same thing, there would be hell to pay. So Republicans, step up and find this guy and tell us what the hell is going on. Does he really exist, or is it Weekend at Bernie's?
Well, and we see that a lot with candidates, especially as races heat up across the country, on who they really allow the media have access to and who doesn't. Now, one of the things I have also noticed that is a major advantage for Republicans is some of those working class gains, low propensity voters, getting them out. Where do Democrats succeed? And what makes me think about that is, you're saying access is getting people energized to go to the polls. Where do they do that successfully? Look at, and if you said New Jersey, Ana Lalia, look at those special elections. If they get out the numbers, then they get the support. So one of the Senate races that is also very important actually is Georgia. You have Senator John Ossoff, who's an incumbent. Mm-hmm. And we saw former Georgia coach Derek Dooley force that into a runoff. But then you look at the nuances. Yes, he forced it into a runoff, but look at the voter turnout. There was simply more numbers on the Democratic side. So where Republicans need to be more honest is how they get folks out in a midterm election cycle to get them energized. Primaries, no problem, right? That's where you get, but the general election is different. I think it's steeper for some of these candidates when they enter a larger voting pool. You have to get the numbers to people to get out and vote.
And how much will Iran and the economy have to do with the Republicans' chances this coming November?
I think economy has everything to do with it. You and I can talk all day long about how there are headlines overseas about Russia trying to wipe out Kyiv and all the money that we are spending to cripple Iran and prevent them from advancing any nuclear warheads. But what people care about is how much their ground beef is going to cost on the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about what happened even 2 years ago, it was the economy and it was immigration. Yes, we can get really heated about some of these issues, but Americans live in a bubble. And if they tell you that the price of gas is hurting them at the end of the week and that they want to have some really great grass-fed burgers on the 4th of July and their grocery bills are $400 with 2 proteins, they're going to say, well, that's going to be the reason where I'm going to go to the polls, because someone's presenting me with options that make my cost of living more affordable. I think affordability 100%. Across the board is what we're talking about with these candidates. Can I talk to them all week? And that's all they talk about is my voters want to live comfortably. They don't want 2 jobs.
Right. And that's why they voted Trump in, because all we heard was, we'll lower the cost of fuel and that'll lower the cost of everything. And right now that ain't happening. And I know a lot of Republicans very, not just a little, extremely pissed off. That is not a good place to be for the Republican Party. Tell us what's coming up on this week's Raising America podcast.
We're going to break down actually a race that typically you and I wouldn't, and then you're going to know why. It's the LA mayoral race. We even sat down with Dean Cain. Let's talk Superman, right? Who doesn't want to talk Superman? He moved out of LA because he said that essentially lawmakers destroyed it. He looked at the governor, he looked at the mayor, and he set him out. Okay, so why is that race important? Well, I mean, you have really a reality TV star who is skyrocketing in the polls. And what is he offering to folks? Again, affordability, public safety, cost of living. I mean, it's really an example of what's happening across the country. So we're talking about that race because it's entertaining and it's fascinating, and it's been pushed, really pushing the pulse of the voters across the country.
I mean, imagine California, one of the most liberal states in the country right now, could potentially, small chance, but potentially have a Republican governor and a Republican mayor in LA.
That's
Unheard
why
of
we
a
love
year ago.
politics. That's why we love
Yes, it
politics.
is juicy. Loving it. Journalist, mom, wife, dear friend, host of the Raising America podcast, which you can find on YouTube, News Nation, and check out News Nation. Fantastic channel. News Nation's Elizabeth Pran. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken. I'll see you next week.
You bet. We'll see you then. 59 minutes past the hour. For those watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, ONNJ, we will be back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. Very good morning, 8:02, Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234, straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta for a much nicer Garden State forecast. Good morning.
Yeah, Ken, it's 70 degrees right now. We've got a lovely start to the day. We're starting on the right foot, especially heading into a nice dry and sunny weekend with temperatures across the state in the upper 70s and upper 60s and low 70s. It's running, well, about the same as it was yesterday. No change as of 8 o'clock. And with the light breeze out of the north and west, it's promoting that drier feel to the day. So afternoon highs will likely be a touch cooler, thanks to that sunny, drier wind. And with highs today making it back into the mid 70s only because some extra clouds returned today, maybe bringing a quick sprinkle at times. Plan on a mostly partly sunny, if you will, afternoon as those clouds take over. But later tonight, we cool back off into the 40s north and west, start off a little bit cooler tomorrow, and then rise back once more into the upper 70s with that pleasant feel. You see a quick passing shower happen tomorrow afternoon. That's in northeastern New Jersey. Just the cold front knocking on our door, letting you know that the drier weekend that's setting up will look very pleasant both days, Saturday and Sunday. Monday morning, our next chance for a little light rain, but beyond that, it is pleasant this weekend. We stay clear and temperatures in the 70s. We'll take it. Like that sunshine on the board, Ken.
Like the big sunnies. Yes, thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. It is 61 degrees, Mike, right now. Northern New Jersey, 65 in Trenton. Down the shore in Cape May, it's 60 degrees. And we check out traffic, and we have a lot of it right now. Let's start, if we can, at Route 42. This is Route 42 near Route 41. There is a crash off to the shoulder. You can see the delays it's causing. Actually, it's starting to pick up. Funny, because as I'm talking to you, they took the crash off my list of incidents. And in the last minute, that has opened up what you see on the left side of your screen. So they must have just cleared that crash away. But nonetheless, just beware of that. Route 42 near Route 41, just beware of it. We have a problem over on the New Jersey Turnpike. This is up northern part of the state by Ridgefield Park, not too far, about 2 miles from the George Washington Bridge. We have a disabled truck on the New Jersey Turnpike, and that is causing a bit of a slowdown as you make your way in. So there we go. You can see the truck lanes on the left and the general lanes on the right, and that's everybody trying to get to the GWB. But they slow down first as they pass the disabled truck. Then we have issues on your Hudson River approaches. Your best bet is actually going to be your Lincoln Tunnel approach, which is only going to cost you 20 minutes in. The Holland Tunnel is about 30 to 35, and the GWB, you can jump right to the GWB, Pam, if you want. GWB 8095 approach, upper and lower level. The upper, look at that mess. Upper is on the right, lower is on the left. So you first pass the crash or the disabled truck, and you have a slowdown there. And then the next 500 feet, you hit that. And that's just bumper to bumper traffic making your way across the GWB. Just a mess. Give yourselves lots of time, as that's 45 minutes in. Also crash investigation on Route 130 southbound at 295 in Logan Township with all lanes closed. It is 5 minutes after 8. Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin said the administration is considering plans to halt international flight processing in so-called sanctuary cities, citing recent protests outside the Delaney Hall Immigration Detention Center here in Newark. Mullin argued that cities opposing federal immigration enforcement should not continue benefiting from international customs processing at their airports. Critics, including former Department of Homeland Security officials and immigration policy experts, warn that such a move could cause major disruptions to airlines, airports, and travelers nationwide without significantly affecting immigration policy. Remember, if a plane can't get through Newark, that plane may have to go to LA to pick up the next person, and that's where it has a ripple effect. The comments followed protests in Newark where multiple state officials showed up, including Senator Andy Kim, who was reportedly pepper sprayed during the protest. Kim and Governor Cheryl showed up intentionally to get pepper sprayed because they know darn well if they want a tour of the facility, there's one phone call they can make and they will be welcomed in and given the grand tour. To just show up at the gate and bang and demand entry will not get you in. It's just going to get you a camera shot. And that's all they seem to have wanted, which is kind of disingenuous and it's not fair. If the people inside that detention center are genuinely suffering, if there is bad food, and there should not be bad food because you're a taxpayer and I'm a taxpayer, we're spending a lot of money for that food. And if that food is rotten, I want to know about it too. So, no matter where you stand on the illegal migrant issue, they deserve real food that is healthful. So that aside, if you are true to heart of wanting to get in to check out the food, Governor, don't just show up like a moron and bang at the gate. If you were to show up at your kid's school and bang at the door, they wouldn't let you in either. You have to call the school and make an appointment with the principal, and they will tour you through. Same thing happens when you go to Delaney Hall, and you know that. It's a federal facility, federal detention. It's a jail. You can't just walk in. 8:07, and Governor Mikey Sherrill announced a new proposal requiring data centers in New Jersey to pay for their own electricity infrastructure upgrades and publicly report their energy and water usage. The plan also calls for community development agreements addressing concerns such as noise, pollution, and local impacts while requiring the use of union labor and prevailing wages for construction projects. Cheryl said rapidly growing energy demands from data centers are contributing to rising utility costs statewide. Okay, let's back up right there. The cost of electricity statewide may be impacted by the data centers that much, but the data centers haven't opened yet. Okay. The cost of electricity in the state of New Jersey went up when the former Democrat governor of the state, Governor Murphy, insisted on shutting down 5 fossil fuel energy plants and 1 nuclear energy plant. And immediately the cost of energy went up through the roof. It's called supply and demand. You have the need of energy rising. You bring in 900,000 illegal migrants who also use electricity. You don't have an infrastructure for it. Instead of adding power plants, you shut down 6 of them, and then you wonder why the cost of energy has gone through the roof. Then you make a mandate that everybody has to have electric vehicles, which was the mandate in New Jersey by 2030. And all of a sudden you're wondering, gee, why does the cost of electricity seem to go up? And then you blame AI centers that haven't even been built here. No. They use a lot of electricity, but the cost of energy is the highest in the nation in New Jersey right now because morons who run the state went ahead and shut down power plants without an alternate in place. That's why. Everybody knows it. Stop looking at us. As Judge Judy says, stop peeing on my leg and calling it rain. Okay, we're not stupid, Governor. So the governor's proposal came as several New Jersey communities pushed back against new data center developments over environmental and quality of life concerns. Meanwhile, Governor Cheryl is renewing efforts to encourage school district consolidation in New Jersey as part of a broader push to reduce property taxes and improve efficiency. New Jersey, which is one of the smallest states in the union, although we're the highest in density, the state has 600 school districts. The state of Florida has like 10. And yet their education, their college attendees and everything is higher than us. They spend half per student what we spend. This state is so providential and it's so into like, well, we don't want to associate with those kids and that. Stop it. 600 school districts is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous number in a state this tiny. All right. Do we even have 600 towns and cities in the state? I don't even think so. So we have multiple school districts within cities. It's nonsense. And it's all because everybody wants to live together, but they don't really want to live together. I don't want my kid messing around with those kids. Stop it. You need to stop that. That's why it is so expensive to live in New Jersey. And I applaud Governor Cheryl on wanting to look at this. I am supporting her and I applaud that. That's a smart thing to do. But I don't think she's going to get the support of the state, unfortunately, on that one. It is 8:10 right now, and launching a new seasonal ferry route connecting Manhattan and Point Pleasant Beach for summer of 2026. That should be very cool, offering travelers a direct alternative to driving to the Jersey Shore. So you get out of work in the city, take the ferry, you can be down the shore in like no time. The trip, by the way, will take 75 minutes, but it's a pleasant trip from Lower Manhattan to Point Pleasant Beach. Just sit back, have a cocktail, don't worry about driving, and let the ferry take you there. Company officials say the route will provide easier access to nearby shore towns. It'll reduce traffic congestion as well. The ferry would arrive near Point Pleasant Boardwalk within walking distance of local restaurants and attractions. New York and New Jersey attorneys general have launched an investigation into FIFA's ticketing practices for the 2026 World Cup after complaints about confusing seat assignments and rapidly increasing prices. The probe focuses on FIFA's introduction of new premium front category seating after initial ticket sales, which allegedly left some early buyers with worse seats than expected despite paying higher prices. Investigators, I should say, are also examining FIFA's use of variable pricing with reports that ticket costs for many matches rose significantly between 2025 and this spring. Officials say fans deserve transparency and fair access to affordable tickets, but it looks like it's a supply and demand issue. As more tickets get sold, the prices go up, etc. Governor Cheryl announced that FIFA World Cup 2026 Welcome World Rewards program will launch June 1st to encourage visitors and residents to support local businesses and community events across New Jersey during the tournament. The digital rewards program allows participants to earn points by visiting participating businesses and attending events tied to the state's $5 million World Cup community initiative. Now, rewards may include World Cup match tickets, concert tickets, merchandise, and access to fair fan events. State leaders and New York, New Jersey host committee members say that the program is designed to spread the tournament's economic and cultural benefits across all 21 counties. And a fireworks show honoring fallen soldiers on a Long Island lake was canceled after town officials caved to radical left-wing environmentalists who said the display would disturb the bald eagles. Now, again, not against the environment, but this takes it to the next level. The bald eagle population is no longer endangered. So to say that shooting off fireworks in that town is going to impact the bald eagles, what about all the towns around it that shoot off fireworks? Do they not impact the bald eagles? Because Long Island has a lot of towns with a lot of bald eagles. Now, this was supposed to take place this Saturday at Lake Ronkonkoma. Had to be canceled because all the radical activists, I'm not talking about people who like the environment, I'm talking about the radicals, they threatened to protest and shut it down because this is what they do. If they don't get their way, they act like petulant children and shut things down. And the town supervisor caved and now is basically saying, if you're a vet, go screw yourself. We care more about the environmentalists. So there you have it. You can't cave in, folks. You can't cave in. It is 8:14. When we come back, we're living at a time when AI is moving ahead at lightning speed, and a lot of people are wondering how to stay relevant. I'm going to talk with the author of a new book about it that was written by a software engineer. That's the fascinating thing. This author is a software engineer who could tell you about the inside info. Mostly sunny, breezy today, highs mid-70s. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It's 8:16. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Nice weather for the Northeast. Meteorologist Mike Favetta is going to explain. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ken. So pretty today. But you may run into a quick passing 5-minute shower as some of these sprinkles are working on by later on this afternoon. We start off the day nice and sunny and clear, but some clouds are on the way later on today. Look at the cleared, unlimited visibility right now. It looks to be dry all through northwestern New Jersey. Still a few of those lingering showers from the overnight down across the coast. The remainder of the day, sun to clouds. You'll see more gray sky this afternoon as temperatures still warm into the 80s. Had a few quick passing showers just around 195 last night, and then exiting Atlantic City early this morning. But nevertheless, with all the sun that's around today, our high of UV gets up to the moderate level between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And the reason why it's not at the high level is, again, because of those clouds working in later on this afternoon. You'll start to see them here on the map developing off across the north and east. They are working down across upstate New York and arriving here throughout this afternoon. The Futurecast shows it best. You see here, put it into motion, and throughout the course of the day, that northwesterly breeze drives down some of those clouds. Back to sunshine tomorrow. We make it back into the upper 70s, but we get another round of rain across northeastern New Jersey tomorrow afternoon, just in time for the evening rush and through the dinner hour. A few light sprinkles with that cold front that sweeps on through. That'll send us down into the 40s and 50s for Saturday morning, but there's a quick rebound into the afternoon, and then we're dry all weekend. Beyond that, a quick little shower chance going by for Monday. Into Monday and Tuesday of next week, the long-range Futurecast shows dry weather. Likely have a few sprinkles by Wednesday with some clouds, but again, beyond that, it's a cooler than average trend, and this is actually closer to normal as we head into the next few weeks. So the weekend forecast, nice and dry, highs in the 70s both days. We like that forecast, Ken.
Yes, indeed we do. Thank you, sir. Like in the forecast. It is 65 degrees northern New Jersey, 68 in Trenton. It's 66 degrees now in Vineland and 64 degrees in Cape May. Let's take a look at some of the traffic we have. This is on the Garden State Parkway northbound. This is exit 147 northbound, and you can see the traffic. This is really just folks getting glare from the sun, the east sun, which is to their right. And that's, oh, so they're heading south. Excuse me, they're heading south. If the east is to their right, they're heading south. But just to give you an idea of the traffic there, that's just a slowdown, about 20 miles an hour, again by exit 147 of the Garden State Parkway southbound. We have some issues to tell you about on I-80 right now. There's a broken down truck, and that is near the approach to the George Washington Bridge. So you could see the slowdown of traffic there if we can. The 80, Cam? All right, never mind. Go instead. Just show us the GWB, please. So GWB is a mess now because not only will you hit traffic going to the approach of the GWB, we're beyond that. That's all right. Go to the GWB, please. If one, you'll first hit that delay, and then you have that. Now this is caused because you have a breakdown on the bridge proper. So you can see the upper levels on the right, lower on the left, and the upper is worse because there's a truck broken down on the bridge as well. So this tends to happen when you have slowdowns leading to the bridge. Vehicles overheat, especially in the summer, and that causes more breakdowns. So we have like 3 distinct breakdowns in a 2 to 3 mile stretch leading to the bridge and then over the bridge. So that is a mess. Do not use that as your approach into Manhattan. That's going to cost you 45 to 50 minutes from anywhere if you're heading in that way. Lincoln and Holland are both 35 minutes, much better, although they're trafficy as well. It is now 8:20, 66 degrees, and we're living in a time where technology is changing almost everything. And with AI moving at lightning speed, a lot of people are wondering how to stay adaptable and relevant. Well, there's a new book that argues the real advantage may not be talent or even intelligence, but something much more human: resourcefulness. Joining us now is Rosa L. Antonini, who is a software engineer, speaker, and founder of the Rosa Antonini Academy, also author of Resourcefulness, The Hidden Power, Smarter Than Talent, IQ, and Technology. There's a title. I love it. And good morning to you. Good to have you on.
Thank you so much, Ken, for having me. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And parla italiano?
No, 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 no. I am originally from the Dominican Republic.
Ah, ok, qué perfecto. Yo puedo hablar español también. Mi madre viene
Oh,
de Argentina.
perfecto. Podemos
Bueno,
hablar,
sí.
hacerlo en español también.
Perfecto. Si necesitamos, podemos comunicar en español para the interview, but I think, unfortunately, my people only speak English, but that's perfect.
Yes.
So nice to have you on. Tell us about resourcefulness. What does resourcefulness mean to you?
Yeah, so resourcefulness to me means it's one of the greatest capacity, one of the greatest human capacity we can develop. So, right now with AI, technology is changing, the work is changing, the pace of life is changing, and a lot of people are very nervous, not knowing what to do next. And with this book, I wanted to bring the concentration and attention back to what is still possible, a way of living, being resourceful.
And Rosa, if you just look at any of the recent high school and college graduations, when they show the speaker, every time a speaker mentions AI, there is a resounding boo. Everybody boos. And is it just because the young people who just spent $200,000 on their college realize they're going to come into a workforce and there are no jobs available?
I'm not going to say that it's not a concern because it's not true. It is a reality that we are right now I see it as a pivotal moment. We have a great opportunity right now. This is going to change, and it is changing how we learn, how we communicate, how we interact. There is going to be many jobs that will change. But just like that, there will also be new jobs. So I
Mhm.
understand because, my son also and my daughter, they're graduating at this point, and I understand that concern, of course. You have learned for a time that AI wasn't what it is today. So the programs in university, college, and even the jobs that were like highest pay before, well, that has changed. And I can tell you, I'm a software engineer, and it is a big push of everyone to use AI. And there are certain advantage, like you can do things a lot faster, right? So, but at the same time, for the students, like coming out of college now, right? I absolutely understand that concern. But always remember, I want to tell them as well, just like that, don't boo AI because AI will stay. It's more
Mhm.
about how can I use it? How can I incorporate it into my line of work? How can I become creative and take advantage of this new technology that really is eliminating distance, is making, so let's say someone didn't have access to this 200,000, right, education. Well, right now they will be able to get access to learning, to knowledge. So, there is a lot of opportunity that comes with it. So it's not about being against it, it's more about embracing it and bring your creativity to incorporate it with it. And you will do wonderful, wonderful things that other
Mhm.
people, in other years, they couldn't even think it was possible.
Right. Yeah, I even when I write this program every night, the night before, we have all the news we have to write. I have my phone next to me, and every time I come across something I want to double check, a fact, a figure, an age, whatever, a date, I just shout out. I know that's a very basic use of it. I know AI goes way beyond that, but it's like having a personal assistant next to me who just answers every question, and I get the information instantly. It has sped up my job by about 30% just because of that. And that's scratching the surface. And by the way, you don't look old enough to have two kids who graduated
I do.
already. You look way too
I'm
young.
from the
La verdad.
I'm from the Dominican Republic, so we started early.
I was just down in Cabarete last year. I love Cabarete. It's one of my
Oh
favorite
wow,
cities, by the way.
great
It's a
dishes,
beautiful
great.
place. I shouldn't
Yes.
share that with everybody because now everybody's going to want to go to Cabarete. Anyway, so you come from that tech world. If you were to talk to children in school today, years ago we used to say study coding, study coding. Would you recommend that today, or is AI basically doing all the coding?
And well, that's the wonder of AI, right? So it has the strength, but also it has some weakness. So, for example,
Mhm.
like you say, you check these facts, right? You want to double check. And I suggest everyone, if you're using AI to gather information or to try to learn something, don't take it 100% like blindly. Double check that data. Because AI, the system, when we build it, they keep learning from inputs, right? Inputs, which is a little bit of what I discussed with my book, right? So I bring AI and the same system thinking to our personal life, just how we learn, through the inputs that we are getting every day. So to children, I will definitely suggest, this is a beautiful career. I have great passion for technology. I work with data, I design solution, and I think it's a great field. So just because you hear that AI is doing all the coding, what AI is doing is that you can think more as a human. You can now have an idea that before, even if you were not like a great super developer, you couldn't bring it to life. And what AI is doing now is that if you have that great idea, you can use, just like you described, AI as an assistant, and you might be able to come, to bring this idea to life without paying, I don't know, thousands of dollars. So that is a great advantage, and it's a great field. The only changes that will happen is that you are not going to be coding everything from scratch. You won't have to learn all those little things that we needed to learn and to test and to debug. It's going to be a lot easier now for programmers and developers to really execute, their job. At the same time, let's remember that it's not replacing human. So if someone sees it like, oh, you know what, let me lay back, I'm just going to ask the prompt, and then I'm going to do what the AI is saying, I can tell you that those layers like that will disappear, because the human creativity still is what is needed to use the tool. AI is just the shiny object we have today. And then how we have some others in the past, and there will be other in the future. It's not going to be the last one. So
Right.
see
It's
it
not
as
going
that.
away. I don't mean to cut you
It's
off.
not
They're
going
about to
away.
go to a commercial here, but they're going to have AI, so embrace it, right? Learn to
Correct.
live with it and use it to your advantage, because it's not going away. Rosa L. Antonini, software engineer, speaker, founder of the Rosa Antonini Academy, author of Resourcefulness, The Hidden Power, Smarter Than Talent, IQ, and Technology. It was great having you on. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You've been. Say hello to my friends in Cabarete. Dominican is such a beautiful country. You have no idea. Just go there on vacation. Phone lines are open right now. If you'd like, it's 888-658-0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're back in 2. Very good morning. Thursday, May 28th, 2026, 63 degrees now, 8:31. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has a darn nice Garden State forecast for you. So you better thank him when you see him. Hey, Mike, thank you.
Oh, it's pretty, Ken. It's pretty. And then when the rain comes, I'll run away and you won't be able to find me. But with a little bit of wet weather, that does return this afternoon. You'll see it develop here on the map later today. Had a few early morning showers down the shore south of 195, waking up to those early morning clouds. Those will be gone by this afternoon. We get a round of sunshine, and then later on today, a few more passing clouds. But still, 85 in Avalon, that northwesterly wind keeping any sea breeze far away from you. So it'll feel lovely, even right down toward the shore. There's that light breeze this morning blowing from the north and west, getting a little bit gustier later today, up to about 20 miles per hour. And then into tomorrow, that northwesterly wind persists, and that allows for that dry air to pervade right throughout the weekend into our Saturday and Sunday, with breezes again on the higher side. But as long as they're from the north, they keep us nice and dry with that pleasant air, low humidity, lots of sunshine. The other hand, it does bring back the pollen, and with temperatures that will remain in the 70s, the pollen is moderate to moderately high this weekend for trees, grasses, and weeds, as we're right around our average high of 76 degrees, far from the record set back in 2016 of 96. There are those showers from the overnight that hit southern New Jersey, just exiting stage right, and with that, we'll say goodbye to the rain, at least significant rainfall for the next several days, because while there's a chance of rain tomorrow in northern New Jersey, we're dry this weekend. Our rain chances go up by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And it's nice that we finally get a chance to dry out, especially after that soggy weekend that gave us all that rain through the holiday. Right through tomorrow afternoon, I think it's okay. Then we have that quick passing shower that comes through northern New Jersey tomorrow evening. We're dry through this weekend. High pressure dominates, nice and clear. And then Monday night into Tuesday, maybe as early as Monday morning, get a few showers back in the forecast. So we have that lovely round of sun just in time for the weekend, with temperatures that remain in the 70s. It'll look great. Monday into Tuesday, there's our next chance for some rain, but still holding in the 70s. Then even the shore points, nice and warm to start, and then holding in the low 70s as well, with overnight temperatures in the 50s. So chef's kiss to this 7-day forecast. Ken, looks very, very pretty.
All right. We like very, very pretty anytime, sir. Much appreciated. It is now 65 degrees in northern New Jersey. We have a temp of 68 in Trenton. It's 64 degrees in Cape May and 65 in Vineland. In terms of traffic, we are starting to see a lot of it. Let's go to I-78 if we can. There's a crash 78 eastbound at exit 36, Warren Township. By the ramp there, the ramp lane is closed, and it's causing about a 2-mile delay right now, as you can see on your screen. Kind of ugly. We have problems on the turnpike. There's a crash by the I-95 express lanes going up. In fact, we just had about an hour ago, we had a disabled truck there. Now there is a crash in the same location. So as you're approaching the GWB, you're going to hit this slowdown first. Then there's a slowdown. Look at that. And that's what it is. That's exactly where we had the disabled truck earlier. Maybe the truck got back onto the highway and caused a crash, but I don't know. But I'm just saying that. But look at this mess now. So this is about 2 miles before 8095 approach to the GWB. One other thing I could tell you about on the turnpike, and Pam, you could set up the GWB cam next if you don't mind. But we have a crash now on the Jersey Turnpike south of that point, Western Spur, southbound north of interchange 15W in Kearney. The right shoulder's blocked. Now we have the approaches to the Hudson River. Lincoln and Holland are both reporting about 35 minutes in. We look at the GWB approach, and what a mess. So now you've passed the traffic 2 miles before. You speed up to about 30 miles an hour for a minute, maybe, and then you hit this. It is 45 to 60 minutes in via the GWB. This is nightmarish. Yesterday, there was nobody at this time, at that point. Today, that's what you got. So try to take Lincoln is actually your better bet, your best bet of the three. That's your best bet into Manhattan at this time. What a mess. 8:36 is our time. And New Jersey's restaurant scene keeps growing. And one of the hottest dining trends right now is authentic ramen experiences that blend comfort, food, and craftsmanship and culture. Jinya Ramen Bar recently opened its second New Jersey location at the Shops at Riverside in Hackensack, bringing its signature slow-simmered broths and Japanese-inspired dining experience to Bergen County. Joining us now is Tim Doherty, President and COO of Doherty Enterprises. Tim, good morning. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so for those who don't realize, ramen, don't you like stew ramen like a day, right? Do you get all the different ingredients or even longer? Isn't that true?
That is 100% true. We cook our ramens for 24 hours. It is all day, all night. It comes out beautiful. It comes out rich and gorgeous. It's very much a chef-driven concept, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, for those who have never tried it, I only recently tried it because I think when people think ramen, if you're of our age, you think the stuff in the styrofoam container at the Quickie Mart. That is to ramen what buying frozen pizza in the supermarket is to pizza, right? I mean, yes, I guess you could define it as ramen, but it isn't ramen. Ramen is what
It,
you guys have.
it's not the same thing. And honestly, prior to me finding this brand and understanding more about ramen, that was my perception. I was always under the opinion that I did not like ramen. It's apple. It truly is apples and oranges, though.
Right. And the nice thing about ramen, ramen is a style of cooking because you can put anything in there, right, with that incredible deep broth. And by the way, for those who don't realize what collagen is that smooth, silky feeling because you stew the bones and whatnot so long. Boy, am I selling this for you? You stew
I,
the
I want to go.
but it's stewed 24 hours. So every bit of, and collagen is what keeps your skin healthy, keeps your bones healthy, keeps your joints lubricated. It's good for you. And this is stewed for 24 hours so that all of that collagen comes out. The feel in your mouth is like silk when you eat good ramen like this. I'm so glad that you exist and that you have their second location. So this new location is in Hackensack and the shops at Riverside now. Why was it the right fit for that second New Jersey location?
Well, I grew up in New Jersey. We operate restaurants throughout New Jersey. I know the real estate very well. I'm from Bergen County. We actually have an Applebee's in the next shopping center over. We knew the vibrancy and the power of Hackensack. We knew the vibrancy and power of the shopping center, and it just made a world of sense. We were in Totowa, is where our first location is, right on Route 46. This one was a natural extension.
Mhm. So do yourself a favor and check out Ginya because the beauty is, I mean, if you want beef, you could have beef. If you want chicken, you could have chicken in there. And if you want to go veg, you guys could do just, I'm sure you could do just veg, right?
100, yes, 100%. We can do vegan if you
So
want to
it's
go vegan.
amazing, amazing. So that, of course, it's going to be a different experience because you're not going to get the bone collagen, but it is delicious. I've had vegan ramen; it is absolutely delicious. But so you have to check out Genya. You have a following all across the country. How many locations do you have now?
Well, we have three. We're a franchisee of a larger brand. There's about 80 nationwide.
That's huge.
We,
And it's
yeah.
amazing to see the speed that it's growing at. So that tells you everything when it grows at that rate. Do you see this continuing to grow in the Garden State? Because I think once people try it, they'll get hooked. You just have to try it once and you'll be hooked.
I 100% do. We have the rights to develop virtually all of New Jersey, plus some areas in New York as well. We operate restaurants on scale and on across a number of different brands. We invested in Ginya because I want to continue to grow this. There is no reason in my mind why this concept, because of the wonderful food that we have and the incredible unique vibe that you have when you go into these restaurants, why it can't continue to grow.
Yeah, and it's like a hug when you eat ramen. It really is like a hug. It is as fulfilling an experience, a dining experience as it gets. And you guys have other than just the ramen, you have great dishes, you have great drinks. So if I'm a first-time guest and I come in, what would you recommend? If you sit
Uh,
down with me, you say you need to try this and this and this.
So there's small plates, appetizer type dishes. We should definitely have the broccolini. We should definitely have the eggplant. We should definitely have the spicy tuna with crispy rice. And then as we transition into uh, the ramen, I would recommend the tonkatsu black, which is a pork-based ramen. It's just all those beautiful words that you were describing about the slow simmer broth, the collagen. It's a warm hug. You feel fantastic when you're eating it. It's just wonderful. I was talking with my wife yesterday, and she goes, "Tim, I want to go to Ginya again. It's been too long."
That's cool because you have a lot of properties, so you have your choice to choose from, obviously, to pick from.
Indeed.
What's the point in the experience today of dining out, because it's expensive. Let's just face facts, and it's not expensive because those in the restaurant industry are trying to make a buck. You have to survive. It's because the cost of product is so high today. So people are being a little bit more choosy. So when choosing, what would you say is the benefit to coming to a ramen restaurant like Jinya versus, say, a different experience? Is it just because it's a whole new experience for somebody?
Well, I think that's part of it, that it's a new experience. I also think that dining out is a special and unique experience that we can provide at Jinya. In my mind, my memories growing up and my memories with my family is always eating out at a good restaurant. You can put the phones away, you can connect with your family, you connect with your friends. You do that over warm soup. That's really what makes things so special. We have our we have our mission statement, and that is to wow every guest every time. That's to wow our people, and that's to wow our communities. And when you come into our Ginya, my people's goal, my goal is to make sure you leave and you say, wow, that was an incredible experience. I love the food. I love the vibe. I love the experience. And I cannot wait to go back.
That's awesome. And you want people to just keep spreading the word, right? It's word of mouth is the way I've always learned of new places, because somebody else took the chance, right? Spent the money and took the time. And then you find some of the greatest places to eat. What's a website if they want to see all of your eateries?
You can come to dohertyinc.com, dohertyinc.com, or you can go directly to the Jinya website, jinya.com, JINYA.com.
That is awesome. Tim, Jinya Ramen Bar, JINYA, Jinya Ramen Bar, now at its new second New Jersey location at the Shops at Riverside in Hackensack. Tim Doherty, President, COO of Doherty Enterprises. All the best with the location. Come back on when you have your 50th location of Jinya in New Jersey, because I have a gut feeling you will. Thank you for coming on this morning, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, Ken.
You bet. Have a great day. Oh my God, really? I'm not exaggerating. It sounds like hyperbole. Check out this place. It is 8:44 right now. When we come back, our friends at AARP New Jersey will bring us a segment on how to navigate changes in the SNAP and Medicaid programs as we speak with the commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services, Dr. Stephen Cha. Mostly sunny, breezy today, highs mid-70s, maybe a passing 5-minute shower. Just look out for that. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast in a moment, and we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 2. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 847, and we will take calls at 888-658-0234. Mostly sunny, breezy today, maybe a brief passing shower, highs mid-70s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta can explain it better than me. Certainly, he has the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a beautiful day ahead, a little drier, as even though we had all of that rainfall over the weekend, most of the state, especially way up north and down south, still in about a 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit. So the drought continues, and that's most prevalent where it's shaded in orange south of 195. Northern New Jersey, you've got a lovely day ahead with temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. We're already at 70 degrees. This goes to show that even throughout the first 2 weeks of June, we should have that warm weather persist across New Jersey. So slightly warmer than average, and that carries across the rest of the country. The 7-day forecast has beautiful weather this weekend, nice and dry, a little bit of a cool down from the warm weather tomorrow, and then our next chance for some rain beyond the quick sprinkles that'll be around tomorrow evening, not until Tuesday of next week. So a very pleasant forecast even down the shore, Ken.
Right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And it is now 8:49. A couple of things to tell you about. On I-80, we have a crash westbound at exit 47B. That's Route 46, Parsippany Troy Hills. 2 right lanes of the 4 lanes closed. Everything in that whole corridor, I-80 to the bridge, that whole corridor has been a mess all morning, right through to, look at this. So this is about 2 miles before the GW Bridge on I-80. This is something else. We had an earlier breakdown, then a crash. And then as you make your way beyond that and you get right onto the bridge itself, we now have a crash on the bridge by the express lanes. Just a mess. So your Lincoln and Holland Tunnel approaches, they're going to be about 30 minutes in. Your GWB, now look at this, 8095 approach to the GWB, 8095, just bumper to bumper mess in all about 45 minutes at that point. So it's going to cost you an additional 15 minutes for the crash that you just passed that Pam just showed you a moment ago. And then you're going to hit this a mile later. And this is the delay into the upper part of Manhattan on the GWB. So all in all, it's like everybody took off that extra day or two because of Memorial Day, and then you hit that. So just pack your patience. Take the Lincoln. That's probably your best bet going in this morning, and have a good one indeed. The following is brought to you by our friends at AARP New Jersey. Medicaid and SNAP benefits are critical resources for so many families across New Jersey. But with recent updates and changes, many residents may have questions about what these changes mean for them and what steps they need to take to maintain coverage and benefits. Dr. Stephen Cha is Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. We say good morning to you, Dr. Cha.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Nice to have you on, sir. And there are major changes happening now with Medicaid this year. So explain what those changes are, please.
Sure. So just backing up, about 1.85 million New Jersey residents are enrolled in NJ Family Care, which is our New Jersey version of Medicaid. Now, about 30% of those New Jersey residents, about 540,000, got coverage through the Affordable Care expansion, and that's exciting and fantastic. Those folks, however, will be subject to new eligibility requirements under what we call H.R. 1, the budget bill that was passed by Congress last year. So this budget bill creates new requirements for all those people, all those 540,000 people. We're worried, and some people have projected that we may lose as many as 330,000 New Jerseyans who could lose NJ Family Care due to these new federal burdens. And we're really concerned about that and trying to work with folks to make sure folks are tracking on that.
And for folks who may not understand what H.R. 1 was, under the Trump administration, there was some Medicaid fraud in pockets of the country. And unfortunately, because of a few people who were the bad guys, the good people who desperately need Medicaid now may slip through the cracks. And that's what stinks. These people desperately need Medicaid, and they may go to get health coverage in an emergency and find out, oh, you're no longer eligible. So what is it that every few months they have to kind of renew again and kind of reprove that they need to stay on Medicaid?
That's exactly right. And so just to be clear, a lot of these changes don't start for some time. So we have time. This isn't a tomorrow thing. Most of these changes start to take effect. Certain undocumented immigrant populations start to lose coverage in October of this year. The bigger changes start in January of next year, but we want to be sure that people are understanding what's happening and what we're doing now in partnership to be sure people can tackle some of these challenges. Just as you said,
Gotcha.
we're going to have more federal burdens. They're going to have to prove that they're working, what they call community engagement requirements. And it's going to have to happen every 6 months. Most people are used to doing this every year. For that
Right.
540,000 who got coverage through the Affordable Care Act, that 30%, you're going to have to do it every 6 months starting in January. So it's good to begin the conversation now about what that's going to mean.
So your team is active right now in helping residents navigate the updates and make sure that people don't accidentally lose coverage because you don't want to be in a catastrophic accident, find out you're not covered.
That's exactly right. So the governor's budget, which is before the legislature now, invests in systems and partnerships to prevent these unnecessary coverage losses. And I should be clear that those folks who are going to lose coverage, that 330,000 New Jerseyans that I talked about, the vast majority of them are still eligible. They're still eligible for coverage. It's just that they're not going to get through all the paperwork hurdles and burdens that are now put upon them because of that HR 1 bill that was passed. So the governor's budget puts about 10 million more to strengthen the coordination amongst state agencies and counties. And counties are the front door for a lot of these benefits. To invest in some vendors to help us modernize our systems. And it also includes 71 million because one of the other things the bill did was just remove money from the administrative cost for the SNAP, the nutrition benefits. So the governor's budget puts 71 million to support those county agencies, again, because they are our front door for both nutrition and health benefits to get people access. So we're just trying to focus for the rest of the year to make our systems work better, to take these investments in both county partnerships and our vendors and make this work better for people. We want all eligible residents to stay on the program as much as we can.
Sadly, so many people who are on Medicaid are the very people who are unable to get the mail, read the mail, figure out multiple pages of complex forms, fill them out, get it. Those are the people that need the help the most. And unfortunately, they're the ones we're obviously most concerned about. But what should people do if they get that renewal paperwork or notice in the mail? What's the first thing they need to do?
Yeah, so we're going to be reaching out to contact all of our beneficiaries by fall 2026 of this year with more information. And again, for 70% of our beneficiaries, don't need to do a thing. Don't worry, relax. For those people who got coverage through the ACA, there's a bunch of hoops and hurdles that you have to go through, and we'll be giving you more information if those changes apply to you. But yeah, I got to say, it is hard to track mail, and we understand that's challenging. We'll have customer service lines open. We're already talking to community partners and trying to think about how we can get those messages out, talking to our providers and hospitals. But watch for your letters, emails, texts. Make sure your contact information is up to date and be sure you open and respond to all that mail as soon as possible. We're starting to send some of those alerts out now just to get people prepared, but we do have some months before people really need to take action.
Yeah, for people who don't realize, Medicaid is almost half the budget. And not just this state, but most states around the country. Medicaid is huge because healthcare is so expensive. We kind of started to deal with it in the last couple of decades, and we kind of dropped the ball. And this is still a major problem. Doctor, if people have questions or need help with Medicaid or SNAP, where can they go? What website can they go to, or whom can they contact right now?
Absolutely. You can call the NJ Family Care customer service at 800-701-0710 or go to our website at dhs.nj.gov. So we're here to help support people. We want to make sure that your contact information is up to date and make sure that both, and we didn't talk about the SNAP, but more than 800,000 New Jersey residents also rely on SNAP, and we're seeing projected benefits losses as well because of that budget bill. So it's both nutrition and the healthcare that we're really trying to figure out how we can move forward here.
Wow. Well, thankfully, you're on top of it and helping so many people out. Dr. Stephen Shaw, Commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Human Services. Thank you for this very important information, and thanks for coming on this morning.
Appreciate you.